Hi everybody, I'm Ryan Tatara, and this is my video report on China's ghost cities. It was one of the more interesting things that I learned about these past few weeks, and I wanted to learn more about it. So as a little history and a bit of a recap, these cities were discovered back in 2009, and I use quotes because they were discovered by the West, like countries like America, back in 2009, but they have been going on for a few years longer. So what was discovered was that China was just building cities, and these cities were being built pretty rapidly, and they were very big. Like they were rivaling that of like London and New York, and a lot of them were modeled after European cities. Some look just like Paris, some look just like London, some look just like Holland, which I know is not a city, but they they're very high-end looking cities, and there's about 50 of them just scattered around China. And so you were wondering, why were these made? So then the Chinese government comes out and says that they're being built to offset the inequality of housing in China. Because when you think of China, you might think of cities like Beijing or Shanghai, but those are really like the two big ones, and living there is very expensive. And then on the other end, you have people living in the countryside that aren't making a lot of money, and over time, those are gonna get even more and more unequal. So the Chinese government said that to better help this, they're going to attempt to move. They're going to attempt to move 60% of China's population from the countryside into cities by 2020, which is a couple hundreds of million people. And instead of just putting them into cities like Beijing or Shanghai, which get overpopulated very quickly, they just build new cities and are going to put people there. Now that sounds good, but there are a lot of issues that go with that. One is that people don't want to move. They're perfectly fine with where they are. They don't want to change. They just want to be comfortable with what they're doing and don't want anything different. One other instance is that they do want to go, but they don't have the money to, because as I said, that there's this big inequality. It costs a couple of millions of dollars to buy one of these apartments, and the average Chinese citizen makes a couple dollars a day. So there's really no feasible way for these people to move to these cities. This is a picture of one of the things I was talking about, where the people in this building didn't want to move for this road to be built, so the government just said, okay, we'll just build it anyway. And there are plenty of other instances like this of building around cities, building around buildings to continue the city's production. And so with all these things of people saying they don't want to go or they can't afford to go, these cities are still being built. You know, as soon as one city's done, they'll move somewhere else and keep building. And one of the reasons for this is because of corruption. The more cities you build, the more buildings you build, the more GDP that city has. And this is tied into the fact that cities, the term cities, used differently in China than it is in America. It's more of an administrative term in China. And so the more city you have, the higher rank you'll get. And so that's one of the reasons. So they know that a lot of these buildings aren't going to be inhabited, but that's not going to stop them. They're still gonna do it. They're still gonna build the buildings because they want what's best for them. And another reason for it is because of housing inflation and the housing bubble going on in China. Going back to again, it costs several millions of dollars to buy a nice apartment in a city like Beijing or Shanghai, and it's only going to get worse. And so what people do is they just start buying apartments. They just start buying as many as they can now because they know in the future that's not going to be possible. And so the Chinese government started saying, they started putting restrictions on that. and then these people started finding loopholes for it. One example being said that married couples can only have one, but then if they buy more, they have to put larger down payments. So what people discovered is that if you legally get divorced but still stay together, you can buy more apartments. And so loopholes like that have led to more people buying apartments because they won't be able to in the future. And so a lot of these apartments in these cities are being bought out by people who are living in Beijing or Shanghai, even though they're not going to be used. They're still being bought because they won't have much of an option down the road. Here are my works cited, and not cited in this, but included are the videos linked in the module that this was from. And that's it. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. See ya.